So my thing is like my presentation is on like this Druid wallet, which is a crypto wallet. But then before I explain this, I need to explain this, why I'm doing this and all that stuff. So I've been working on this blockchain network called Druid Chain. And it's basically an Oracle network. So idea is to store data as well as the other component is basically creating tokens, but the token has a special thing. You can't just randomly create tokens and create a pyramid scheme like we've been seeing all over the crypto world. So there's actually a huge due diligence component to it. So if you're trying to create a token, you have to follow it. And that's basically in regards to government regulations and compliance. And that's what this whole blockchain network is actually built around. And that's that. And then we can just like what I'm building, we can just do that on any of the currently available blockchain networks like Ethereum or any of those things, because they don't follow any regulations. You really can't do anything about it. So that's why there needs to be a separate blockchain network just for this. And then for anyone wondering, this blockchain network will be built using Cosmos SDK and Tendermint Core. Cosmos, it's that whole ecosystem. It's actually, if you ever used Cosmos Hub or their coin called Atom, if you ever bought it, if you ever use it, that's that. It's actually a Toronto-based company that's doing all this thing. And these guys, the idea behind it is like you can connect different blockchain networks together to create like this massive network. So it's like a network of blockchain networks. And then a Druid chain will be one of them. And as such, the wallet will be built purely for this network and this protocol. So you won't be able to do anything with the Ethereum or any of the other blockchain networks. And so here's my little presentation. Now let's see if I can go away. Hey, look. Can you guys see this? Oh. You guys can see this, right?
Yeah, we can see the Druid wallet.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Wondering. Okay, good. So there's a bunch of stuff I need to do for this. First one, I've been like, I tested the blockchain network a couple of years ago. I got some of the basic ideas right. The first thing I actually need to do is actually build a wallet so that anyone can actually interact with the network. Or right now, my goal is to interact with the Cosmos Hub itself. So any of the other blockchain networks on it. So I'm just it's kind of like a learning process for me. I'm like learning how to build a crypto wallet and then interacting with like buying and selling stuff, trading, trying to figure all these things out while I'm trying to learn this. And this is part of that whole process. So I'm building this wallet as a result of it. And this wallet specific problem that it's trying to solve is this. Most people don't know who's behind the wallet. And if you want to comply with any banking or investment regulation compliance, you need to have like a KYC done on the person who holds the wallet. And obviously now it doesn't exist that way, like so many scams going on and all that stuff. So this whole thing is basically to fix this problem with this wallet. And the solution is basically like there will be an off-chain service. So when a person will create a wallet, and then they can then verify that wallet using this off-chain service to do the customer due diligence. And then the data itself then will be encrypted using the person's wallet and then stored on chain. The idea behind it is that, let's say, even they're trying to buy a token that they have to follow a specific regulatory requirement, that token smart contract will then request the user's data, for example, their name, address, where they are, citizens, all these information that you need to buy securities, basically. And the idea behind it is that once it's on the chain, the data, then the smart contract can then talk to the person, and the person, if they say yes, then it will then ping the off-chain service to then decrypt the data and send it to them so they can verify it. So this one is like one of the components is basically leaving the chain itself and doing some magic on them on a server side somewhere to get these things. And the important idea here is that the data itself, because it's stored on the chain, the person who owns the chain, owns the data, for example, the wallet holder actually has full access to it. They're the one that determines if they want to share the data or not, which is very different from how banks do it nowadays. The idea is like you eliminate all the middlemen. That's the strength of blockchain. This is basically like, I would say the evolution of finance. And that's why banks don't like this type of solutions, because they want to stick to their, control over what they're doing right now. And yeah, anyways, that's my little commentary on what banks are doing. And the whole part of the whole this thing is that there's a securities token interface. So interface basically on the smart contract itself, you have to implement the specific functionalities on the interface to then handle all these off-chain events, to do all these things. Only then, if it's valid through a verified service provider, it will give a check mark or whatever it is. And then once that's done, then that's when you can actually buy and sell these tokens, basically like adhering to any securities laws and whatnot. And the point of the wallet is basically to ensure that regulations are followed. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. And that's also one of the biggest issues right now, is that if you want to securitize, let's say, a stock or a bond into a blockchain in the form of a token, you really can't do it. There's actually, I just heard one news today about some companies doing it. They're putting this 2.1 million private equity bond or fund into a token on Polygon, which is kind of exciting news, which is exactly what I'm trying to do. But then mine is for like green bonds, green assets. But that's that. And the basic features for this wallet is that's creating a thing, performing the CCD, and then buying and selling tokens. Nothing fancy in its first iteration. And the technology stack is this. Again, blockchain network is Cosmos SDK Tendermint Core. It uses Go, so Tendermint Core and Cosmos SDK is Go. Then what they do is, like for smart contract, they actually use Rust as a WebAssembly. So it actually executes the WebAssembly code in the chain. And that's how they are creating a container for the smart contract using WebAssembly. So if you guys ever messed around with WebAssembly, this is one of the amazing use cases as a smart contract inside a blockchain network. And the off-chain service I plan on doing is basically like Lambda with Go and Postgres. And this is something I struggled with, mobile application and desktop application. I really wanted to do this in Flutter because I really love Flutter. It's like so amazing, like performance-wise. But most of the libraries and all these things that are available for the blockchain in the blockchain ecosystem are all JavaScript for any kind of front-end work. So if I was to do it for Flutter, I had to convert everything to Dart, and I don't think I had time to do any of those things. So I just go with React and React Native because I need a browser extensions as well. And then finally, like just a quick overview of exactly what this whole blockchain network will do is this. It takes in so sustainable finance is like the main primary term people have been using. And then ESG data, so it brings in all the data together, everything, keep it in there, and then what it returns is a token in the form of credit, all those things. It's just a little overview of how the whole project will come together. And then that's that. And then I have a really cool, I've been learning Figma actually. So I used to be a designer. So when I was a designer, I used Photoshop. The last time I did any kind of design work, I was using Photoshop. So it's been a while. So I decided to learn Figma and actually design some of these screens and how I'm going to do all these things. So for the past couple of weeks, I've been just doing this, just designing, learning Figma, And I swear to God, if I had Figma like 10 years ago, my life would have been so much easier. But here we are. It's a good way to learn. And I just like, it's like a simple thing. Like if you ever used any um, what do I like investment app like Wealthsimple or Questrade, any of those things, you will not realize it's kind of like I have a similar workflow for most of these things. Because one of the things is like verification, creating an account. We need like people who are selling the security, they know all these information. So there's like verification process. Same stuff has to happen in the wallet, because nowadays in all the crypto wallet, you don't have any of these things. Just anyone can create, anyone can do anything. That's where the legal headache is. And then this is the important part. So when during the KYC process, this is like the bare minimum data you need to collect. So the person's actual name, date of birth, employment status, then person needs to then upload like their actual photo ID. Then obviously the terms and conditions, agreements, depending on the token or project you want to buy into, there are like different agreements you have to sign. All these things would be part of this whole process. This is some for the profile itself, just a basic to update any of the old information you need to do. Again, I kind of like played around with Figma here and learned how components work. I didn't know the components existed, so I was like first designing stuff and copy pasting stuff. Then I realized that there's something called components and styles and all these things. And I was like, shit, I should do this. So I was able to learn this and do this. But here's some that part. And then here's like the typical portfolio, buy and sell view design. Just as simple. I just made as simple as possible for that initial iteration of the wallet. And I do have one for fund transfer. I am one thing is I'm actually doing this for the US market, not the Canadian market, because Canadian regulations are archaic. And I've been trying for like almost 6 years to find a leeway into trying to do it for Canadian market. It's just not possible. So I decided to go with the US market. That's why you will see ACH instead of e-transfer. But that's that. And this is like my initial rough design, I would say. But then I got really nifty. And then once I figured out how Figma works, I started to do a proper design, and you can see the design difference. I was able to create proper components, and then just learning these things, and just this is my here's the Druid Wallet. That's how it was it. But here's a newer design, how I'm gonna do this, all these things. So I'm just like, figuring this out and learning and doing. I haven't done any coding yet. That's probably starting maybe like a couple more weeks once I finish all these design stuff and get the look and feel of the wallet proper, or however I want it. Then I would start the development of it, most likely in React, unfortunately. But yeah, that's it for now. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. That. Yay.
Cool. Thanks, Lalith. Lots of great info here and lots of great conversation happening in the chat. Unfortunately, we are pretty close to time. So what I'm going to encourage folks to do is to head over to Lalith's project. It looks like you've got two, one for Druid Chain and also Druid Wallet. So if folks want to post any questions there, I would definitely encourage you folks to do that. But thanks so much, Lalith, for a really thorough and interesting presentation. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.